Albert Einstein once said that intellectual growth should commence at birth and cease only at death, meaning one should always be open to learning and adding new skills. But now, when we get to hear so many headlines on the layoffs in the startup and even matured sectors included, the need for upskilling gets even more dire. So how you should go about upskilling yourself and what are the sectors that are likely to see the disruption and hence greater needs for upskilling, we'll decode all of that and much more with Rajneesh Singh, who is the managing partner at SimplyHR Solutions. A very good evening, Rajneesh, and thank you so much for joining us today on ET Now. The very first question that comes to my mind, because we read a lot of headlines regarding the layoffs, although the number is not that much in respect to the number of employees that some of the matured companies have actually into the system. But is this a time when you should get all the more focused on upskilling amidst the layoff news that we are getting to hear? And are the employees wanting more of the employees who are best amongst the lot?
Absolutely. I think that's the way things are panning out right now. And I think post-pandemic, there's a lot of discussion around getting lean as an organization. And when we discuss about being lean, then it means that we want our existing workforce to do more than what they have been doing. And which is where a concept like a multitasking really comes into play. And when we're talking multitasking, then eventually it means that you can't be just working with a set of skills. You need to have multiple skill sets with you so that you are able to perform, contribute, be productive, be effective. So there, I feel definitely there's a complete emergence of upskilling. And with the help of online courses, my sense is that people have access to various, whatever knowledge they want to access. And in the process, as they apply that knowledge, I'm sure somewhere they're going to hone up their skills as well. And this definitely applies to people, particularly who are very high potential as identified by any organization. Organizations are going to put their bets on such talent. And so they are going to invest as much as the individual is going to invest in himself or herself.
Well, yes, but Rajneesh, over the years, we have seen technology playing a big role in terms of creating new jobs, or rather taking some jobs that were already into the system. But moving on, I'm sure that technology will continue to play its role, but which are the sectors that you feel require more upskilling currently, and where are we getting to see a cutthroat competition? Which are some of the budding industries in that sense?
Yeah, so any industry where technology plays a big part, they are up for huge disruption, and that is where I mean, in the big tech companies globally, also you see a lot of layoffs happening. I think there is a lot of focus on restructure, which means the IT industry right now is at the top of the heap, if you really ask me, because technology is what they do. The rest of the sectors would take a bit of a back step, but then any other sector like a e-commerce or a ed tech or a fintech, anywhere where technology is coming in a big way, those are going to get impacted, and that is where the employees need to be really on top of their act and on top of their skills if they have to really not only stay in their job but also grow in their job.
Okay, but Rajneesh, now that we get to know from you that yes, it is the time where you should focus on upskilling, let me ask you, what are the ways to go about upskilling your some new abilities that you want to add in your CV, and how to know that it is the right time for you to work on upskilling in terms of whom to ask or look upon for the advice, for proper suggestion in those terms? Because for sometimes we just enroll for some other course without knowing that why is that important.
So there are two, three things here which come into play. One is, of course, if you have a great manager, a great person whom you're reporting into would be the right person to really identify the right set of skills that should be really one should be investing in. And so that person becomes a very key role player in the entire play. The second person is, of course, yourself. And so that's why then it becomes very, very important. How am I keeping myself abreast with what is happening in the industry, what is happening in the market, I think the more, and I think today the access of information is so massive that nobody can really say that I was not aware that this kind of a skill was required. I think today people are far more aware. They have access to information. They have access to various online courses. So there is no reason really to for somebody to say that, guess what? I had no clue that this skill is becoming very, very critical. In IT, for example, a C++, a Java guy, a Python guy. I mean, these are the skills that are really emerging very strongly. And the IT people, I mean, whoever they are, wherever they are, if they are not really reading about all this and really researching and then finding certain online courses, naturally they are going to be left behind.
Well, Rajneesh, there's a saying that knowledge isn't free. You have to pay attention. But when it comes to the sources that are available in terms of giving you knowledge, what are some of those areas that one should be looking out for in terms of upskilling? Like you mentioned that you should look upon to your manager if your manager is someone who is very much supportive. But other than that, how should one look out to upskill themselves in terms of not spending so much money into that?
All said and done, I mean, like we have been through school and colleges and then business schools or engineering colleges, look, end of the day, you have invested money into yourself or really getting yourself prepared for a corporate or an industry. So that, honestly speaking, that doesn't stop. The more you're going to acquire knowledge, the more you will have to invest. And it's not only investment in terms of money, but time as well as, so which means that even if I'm in a job, can I be do something off my work hours over the weekends? So there are two investments that are bound to happen. And so there are not many really free courses available. So at one level, definitely, if organizations take that lead and really support the education or support the knowledge that people are acquiring, and many organizations do that. I mean, for high potential people, they do really invest money into people. Maybe they subsidize the whole thing of what the individual would have paid, or even do a full kind of sponsorship also. So there are various things organizations are really applying and ensuring that the right people, the right talent stays in the organization.
Well, yes, but which are those sectors that where employers are looking for people who are like all in one package sort of a hiring? Because you did mention in the first answer that you need to have so many skills or you need to have that ability to go for multitasking. So which are those emerging sectors where this kind of a trend is really shaping up?
My sense is, I mentioned a couple of them earlier, which was fintech and edtech. Edtech, I know both have got also impacted after things have really started coming to normal. But my sense is that disruption has happened, that will continue to only grow over a period of time, not really immediately. So those two sectors definitely will be seen as two sectors which are going to be talked more and more about upskilling and what have you. On the other hand, the good old brick and mortar companies like the manufacturing sector, the automobile sector, FMCG, I think everywhere, my sense is everywhere there is this whole need emerging, that where people need to be really equipping themselves far more than what they have done earlier. And a key role player in that has been the whole digitization, the whole technology coming into play. Those factors are definitely pushing professionals to really stay, ahead of the curve. I think that is very, very becoming, it's becoming very, very critical for many people.
But given the exponential pace of the technological disruption, how frequently do you think that someone will need to upskill himself or herself?
Good question, and very difficult answer. Honestly, technology is such a thing. That's the nature of technology. That
Abhishek?
it's not it's not really still, and the way technology really moves, it's such a dynamic process that every day there is something literally coming. So yes, it's a hard run for anybody really working around technology, and that you need to really keep yourself really abreast on a month-on-month basis, and so that's the way technology plays out. I mean, and you don't have an option but to really align and really stay focused on what new is coming up, and then you keep then equipping yourself to really manage that situation.
But is there any ideal age for like upskilling? Because after all, we know that younger people learn newer things more rapidly. So, what's your thought on that?
I wouldn't put an age to that. I think learning is like forever, is what I've always believed. And I've seen people with a lot of experience really change tracks in their career. They picked up something very, very different. And similarly, I would also look at young people who maybe after 5 years, 7 years really figure out that this is not what I wanted to do, even if I've done a course or done my master's or whatever. So I think there is no age. I think it's like it's I would say it's like a calling that people get, that this is the time to really now take a very hard look at where I am, where is my career, where am I going, and where should I be really paying more attention and focus. So I think it all boils down to that rather than anything to do with age.
Okay, but Rajneesh, some organizations do offer the learning leaves, but because the competition is quite cutthroat and there's always someone trying to fill in your space, and especially I'm talking about those sectors which are feeling the burn of these layoffs that we are getting to hear. Uh, at points, employees are a bit scared or they try to delay to take these leaves. What will be your piece of advice to all of these employees?
Yeah, so unfortunately, that's the hard reality. I mean, so if you're not one of them who's really staying really, keeping up with the times, definitely you will fall behind. But the good news is that organizations also look at all kinds of employees. I mean, they just don't need high potential, high performing stars, so to say. I think organizations will also have so many roles for other people also, and every organization is made of a diverse kind of talent. It's not that everybody is like a player. We also need B player, we also need C players. But yes, at the same time, I think the B players and the C players, or that kind of a talent, needs to definitely be aware that if you are not going to really equip yourself, then your career definitely gets limited. That's the only call that people like that need to take. Yes, I agree, there is enough and plenty of uncertainty in the air, and it's very difficult for anyone right now to really forecast or really ensure stability in a job. That's a very, very different call for any organization right now.
Well, yes, but with this, we'll let you go on that, Rajneesh. It was great having you and chatting with you on ET Now. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.